Bible tells us that giants were in the earth in those days. They were the men of renown who were of old. The question is, where is the evidence of their existence? Welcome to SkyWatch TV. I'm Derek Gilbert, our special guest in studio, director and expedition leader for Gen 6 Productions, producers of the True Legends series of documentaries, Episode 1, Technology of the Fallen, working on Episodes 2 and 3 now. Timothy Alberino, thanks again for joining us today.
Great to be back with you.
The physical evidence for giants, this is something that skeptics keep tripping up on and just can't get past the idea that if these giants actually lived somewhere, sometime in Earth's history, and the Bible isn't just retelling old stories, fables, made-up tales, we should see these bones somewhere. So where are they?
We should, and we do, and we did. We do in some places still, and we did in other places, such as here in the United States, which, as you well know, the bones were confiscated en masse by the agents of the Smithsonian and other people, and were stored presumably somewhere, perhaps in the museum, in the sort of Indiana Jones,
the Indiana Jones warehouse
secret compartments or whatever. But yes, they were here, and in some places of the world, they are still in the mounds, under the ground, in the caves, and are even today being recovered.
Huh. So you talked to people then who have actually been digging them up.
Yes, we have.
Today.
We have talked to, and this will be in the next Episode 2 and Episode 3 of our documentary series, which Episode 2 is in production now. We have interviewed both people who have dug up the bones of giants themselves, in some cases working for the government, explicitly employed to dig up the bones of giants, and other individuals, another individual, I should say, who actually dealt with the body of a recently deceased giant.
Recently deceased? How recently?
Oh, just in the last few years. Let's say recent. Well,
so we're not talking like 2,000 years ago time or 3,000 years ago.
No,
relatively recent.
Let me
geologic
clarify
time scale.
Recently, in terms of there's an event that happened a few years ago, handful of years ago.
Within living memory of people walking around.
Yes. And this person was dealing with the body of a giant that had just been killed. And so we have him in our films. That interview is upcoming, and so there's a lot of exciting material coming up in our True Legends series.
So I think one of the criticisms we run into with some of the things that we talk about on SkyWatch TV, and I'm sure you hear this as well, is what difference does this stuff make? Why are we pursuing this evidence instead of just preaching the gospel and making disciples, which of course is what it's all about, pointing to the cross, Christ, and Him crucified. But how does this fit into all of that?
Well, I can tell you that in a biblical context, it has everything to do with both the prehistory of our planet and the prophetic future of our planet. So if you're interested in history, and if you're interested in prophecy, then you need to be interested in the Genesis 6 narrative, because it's absolutely crucial to understand. If you're going to understand what will be, you must understand what was, because we're going full circle, prophetically speaking. Now, that's from a biblical context. However, in just a simple, practical sense, what difference does it make to know anything about history? Why should any of us who are parents be concerned that our children learn anything about anything, right? The history of the United States, the history of Rome, the history of Greece. Who cares? It has no bearing on your life. It has no bearing directly on my life. And yet we evaluate that knowledge as substantial, important. It's something that we want our children to know, and it's something that even we as adults are interested in. That's why the History Channel exists. That's why people read books. So I ask people, if that's important to you, if you can agree with me that it's important that your children learn history, and that it's important that we continue to learn history, why not be concerned with knowing the true history of the prehistoric world from a biblical perspective? How much more important is it to know the true history? And because obviously, as you well know, much of the history that we're taught comes from a Darwinian evolution of species paradigm.
Anti-Christian paradigm.
Exactly. Whereas when you talk about the giants, when you talk about hybrids from the antediluvian world, you are viewing prehistory through the lens of Scripture.
Paraphrasing, I think it was Santayana who said that those who fail to learn from the lessons of history are doomed to repeat them. Just learning secular history is important in that regard, but you're right, the biblical history, where we came from, explains why we're here.
That's right.
And the Bible is essentially a narrative of the spiritual war that's playing for all the marbles, which is your soul and mine and those of our families and friends and children and so forth.
And that quote is very prescient because we are about, and we are beginning to repeat, the days of Noah, whether people like it or not. And I use this analogy, if you're sitting in the back seat of a car, it doesn't matter whether or not you like the direction that car is headed in. You're in the car and you're going. And that's where we are as a society right now, heading towards the hybrid age, heading towards transhumanism, heading towards the resurrection of the golden age when the gods mingled themselves with the seed of men. Those are the days that are coming, and we're all in the car together, whether we like it or not. So we had better get ready and prepare ourselves.
When will the next episode in the True Legends series be ready?
Probably, let's just say early spring. Right now, we're shooting for early spring, a release date. We don't have an exact release date yet, but generally speaking, early spring. It is in production right now. It is being edited, and then we're going to immediately begin to edit episode 3. We want episode 3 to be released shortly after episode 2. And again, there's this isn't just about looking at megaliths. We are chasing down the bones of giants. And we are chasing down the conspiracy. And again, all roads lead to Rome. We'll have you back and have you on the full SkyWatch TV when the series is ready, when next episodes are ready, because this is fascinating stuff.
Fantastic. Yeah. And it's, again, all about the long war for control of the Mount of the Congregation, the Mount of Assembly, Mount Zion, the cosmic mountain, if you will. Dr. Michael Heiser talks about that tonight on SkyWatch TV as we discuss his book, The Unseen Realm. SkyWatch TV airs on the Christian Television Network tonight, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 6:30 p.m. Pacific Time. That's DirecTV Channel 376, Dish Network 267, Glory Star Satellite Channel 117. And if you don't get satellite TV, log on to ctnonline.com. That's the Christian Television Network. Their live stream is linked there. Until tomorrow, we thank you for watching as we keep watch. I'm Derek Gilbert, and this is SkyWatch TV.